Hi friends, Shay here. So I am here to film a wrap up for you. It's been a minute since I've done a wrap up and this is long overdue. But I just realized my battery's low. Let me see if I can get you charging. Hold on. There, that's better. Okay, so as always with my wrap ups, I'm going to start off with the manga portion and then I'm going to do the books. And as always, I also encourage you to watch all the way through. I really have had a pretty good reading month so far, and I'm very much looking forward to talking to you about them. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So I do have a couple of videos related to the manga I've read this month that I want you guys to check out. So the first one obviously is going to be my NetGalley manga reading vlog, where I ended up reading a bunch of digital arcs that I had, but I also read Volume 6 of Fly Me to the Moon, Volume 5 of Spy Family, and the first volume of Mashal. I read all of these, plus the arcs that I had. I read some really great ones. I highly recommend checking out that video if you want full details on any of that. Another video that I ended up doing is I did another Volume 1 Blitz, and in that video, I talk about The Dangers in My Heart, Kageki Shoujo, Accomplishments of the Duke's Daughter, Please Put Them On, Takamine-san, A School Frozen in Time, and The Great Jaehi Will Not Be Defeated. So if you want my thoughts on all of those, you can check out that video. So with that knocked out of the way, let's talk about the remaining manga volumes. Okay, so first up is Volume 5 of Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. Thank you to Bizarre Individual for gifting this to me for my birthday. I ended up picking it up and reading it right away. And I love and adore this comedy slice of life series about a teenage boy who looks all gruff, who is a shoujo mangaka, and this is his editor. And I really love the dynamics of the characters in this series. It's a lot of fun, kind of slapstick sometimes. So definitely a lot of fun. Next I have Hard-Boiled Stories from the Cat by Yurine Ono. This is a one-shot volume about the seedy underground and a cat bar and this cat here. And the dynamic of this was fun. It was kind of a predictable 3-star kind of story. The atmosphere and the art gave it a little bit more, so I gave this like a 3.5 star. It was fun. If you can find this on sale, I recommend checking it out if you like cats. And then I did go on and read Accomplishments of a Duke's Daughter Volume 2. I was able to pick this up with money for my birthday from my younger brother, and I loved this. So the little thing on the back says fantasy meets high finance. Essentially in this series, we have this young woman who ends up transported into a game as kind of like the nemesis, I believe. And so she tries to make the best life for herself, and she ends up being given a fiefdom out in the country from her father, and she ends up making it profitable with all of her modern day woman smarts. And this is so rewarding. I really enjoy the series as a whole. The art is great. I cannot wait to pick up more volumes and keep going in this series. Next, I did end up picking up A School Frozen in Time Volume 2 as well from the birthday haul from my younger brother. And I love this. I love this so much. It was so good. This series is impactful and suspenseful, and something that everybody should be reading and everybody will find enjoyment in. I'm a scaredy cat and I like this, so that tells you something. But do go in knowing that the subject of suicide is talked about very heavily, as that is a central point within the plot. So if you are sensitive to those kinds of topics, this may not be for you, but man, it's a good read. Next up, we have A Sign of Affection Volume 3, which I love this. I love this volume so much. They're so precious. They are so cute. There's kissing. There's official things in here. It makes my heart happy, okay? And I love Sue Morishita. I really love this particular story about sign language and how people live their lives differently and have different expectations. It's just so good. I love the conversations being had within it, and I just adore them as a couple so much. Next, we have a BL title, and that's Like Two Peas in a Pod. This is by Goru Kanbei, which is a mangaka that I really like. So we have two boys. One's named Tanaka and one is named Nakata. And people mix up their names and stuff, and so they think they have all these things in common. And as they get to know each other, they realize that they don't, and they also realize that they start to have feelings for each other. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's cute. Goro Kanbei's art is immaculate. I love it. Come on. They're just so great. I love it. So, anything by Goro Kanbei, definitely pick that up. Then I did also read Dekoboko Sugar Days by Atsuko Yusen. And this was a really cute BL where we have a really tall, pretty boy who's much more feminine. And then we have the short, dark-haired guy with the short guy complex who is afraid to tell his best friend, who he mistook for a girl when he was younger and he was all heroic, that he's in love with him. And their dynamic is super cute. I love them. Once they finally have certain conversations, things move forward. And it was really, really good. I'm really loving these one-shot BLs that Tokyopop has been doing in their Love X Love line. So I've really enjoyed every one that I've picked up. So definitely check those out. Next up, I did continue on with Jack Flash and the Fairy Case Files. This is volume 3. Things to keep continuing to heat up, and pieces have been put into play, and there's a mastermind behind everything that's happening within the series, and we get a slight glimpse of that person, and I'm very, very excited to see where the rest of this one's gonna go. But this is really fun, mystery kind of things that involve the Fae realm. It's so fun. I love it. Next, I did read Bite Maker Volume 2. Now, this is an Omegaverse manga, and a Omega has made its way to this school through one of the other alphas, and then this alpha on the front is like reacting to her proximity, and she's trying to hide as an alpha, but she's an Omega, and he's the alpha who knows is trying to protect her, but they're swiftly figuring out what's going on. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the story progresses. I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, you have to understand Omegaverse really to kind of even understand the plot. But yeah, if you like Omegaverse, give it a shot. Next, of course, I have Volume 7 of Sweat and Soap. Y'all know my precious beans have to be with me. And because the series is finished, Kodansha has decided to release them all by the end of the year. So we will have the rest of this series this year, which I love, but I hate at the same time. And I love them. I love them too much. They are too precious to me. And then, I did get Boys Run the Riot Volume 2. And in this one, we have our main character, our main transgender teen, meeting somebody else who's also transgender, and how they act so differently about being transgender because they've been out for a long time. And there are some ramifications of their interaction with said person. And it's heart-wrenching. So very heart-wrenching. But I love the progression of friendships that our transgender teen is making. It's fantastic. I really love the conversations that are happening, and I highly suggest that people try this series because it's fantastic. The art style is so good. So good. Fantastic. With that said, let's move on to the books. Oh, hey, so it is ARC August, so I've mostly read ARCs. I do have a couple of physical reads to talk to you about first, and then we will talk about all of the digital reads that I've been reading. So first up, I do have Marrying Winterborn by Lisa Kleypas. I buddy read this with Lindsay over at Lindsay Tut, and we both adored this. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. My favorite Lisa Kleypas to date. Rhys Winterborn is amazing. I love him as a hero, but I also really love Helen. Helen has a quiet kind of strength, and it makes me just love and adore her because people underestimate her and don't take her as seriously as they should. But Rhys takes everything, he sees everything about her, and he wants her. He wants her for himself with such a fiery passion. Oh, I love them. We met them in the previous book, Cold Hearted Rake. I didn't love that one as much as I loved this one. And I think from here on, I think each book is going to get progressively better from what I've heard about the series. So yes, definitely enjoyed this. So the Ravenel series is a win for me with Clypus so far. Next up, I have The Bloom Girls by Amy Pine. In this one, we have a mother-daughter duo. This is definitely more women's fiction. The daughter comes home from a trip abroad with a fiance, and she comes home to her mother being pregnant by her father in kind of a one-night stand kind of situation. He's ecstatic about it. She's nervous about it. And it's about them kind of figuring out their life. I'm not going to say too much more than that because I feel like the dynamics need to be experienced. But I do highly recommend this. Solid 4 stars. But again, it is more women's fiction than romance, even though romance is heavily a part of the story. But you are going to have more of that women's fiction-y feel where it's going to focus on the mother-daughter duo more than like the guys involved with them. So it's still really good. I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely be picking more up from Amy Pine. This is also AJ Pine, who does a lot of the Western romances that I like. So I already knew I liked their writing style. So yes, definitely would pick this one up. And then the last physical read that I have is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I did finally read this. I buddy read this with Christy. She just started a channel. We've been friends on YouTube for a long time, so I will leave her channel linked down below. Definitely go give her a follow and tell her that I say hi. And in this one, we have Penny and we have Sam. These two early 20s kids, I shouldn't say kids, these early 20s adults are basically just kind of trying to figure out life, trying to figure out their relationships with their family, trying to figure out romantic relationships at all. And the way that Mary H.K. Choi approaches and handles this, which I think was really well done. I didn't enjoy this one quite as much as I enjoyed Permanent Record, but I still gave it a solid 4. I solidly enjoyed this, and I'm so excited now to pick up Yolk because now I know for sure that I do enjoy Mary H.K. Choi's writing. And so typically when in Yolk there's a illness, like cancer kind of thing, and I typically don't pick those kinds of books up unless I've read the author before and enjoy their work. So I'm much more excited about Yolk now because I do know that focuses on the sister dynamic. But Penny and Sam, I liked Sam more than I liked Penny. Penny was a little bit harder to love, but she was also a bit more immature compared to Sam because of life circumstances. So I do highly recommend picking this one up and giving it a try. I do know that my feelings are pretty on par with most people who read Mary H.K. Choi, is that this first book was good, but Permanent Record was better, and I've heard Yolk is really good as well. So I'm very much looking forward to reading more Mary H.K. Choi as time goes on. All right, let's dig in to all of the digital books. We're going to be here a minute, so. All right, so the first one I'm going to talk about is Open Your Heart by Cheris Hodges. Got to remember what this one was now. I've read so much since then. This is a Black love romance. If I remember right, it also has like a romantic suspense feel to it where I'm remembering now. So she saw somebody get murdered and the killer doesn't want her reporting anything. She doesn't, but she does continue to get threats. Her family finds out. They have a lot of money, so they hire a private detective and a private security guy to come and protect her, and that ends up being our bodyguard male love interest. I really loved both of them, really enjoyed their dynamic, and yes, highly recommend checking this one out. I gave it 4 stars. It just took me a minute to remind myself where I was at on that one. Then I have 2 historical romances that were kind of similar and I just felt meh about. So the first one is Never Mix Sin with Pleasure by Renee Ann Miller. Now, do know that outside of like my Lisa Kleypases I've been reading recently, I haven't been enjoying a lot of historicals. So do take my opinions here with a grain of salt. I just felt like it was very middle of the road, kind of 2D, didn't really love it. So I gave it 3 stars. And I felt the same about The Wrong Marquess by Vivienne Lorette. I did not really enjoy this, kind of, you know, the mistaken person kind of thing. It just felt like a plot I've read before, and I just didn't really I wasn't feeling it. So again, I gave this 3 stars, but on those 2 in particular, please take my opinion with a grain of salt, just because I'm not jiving with many historicals right now. Next, I have Too Good to Be Real by Melanie Johnson. Now, Melanie Johnson is an author I've read before, and this one centers around a place where you can go out and live your rom-com fantasy. And I loved the whole concept of this. But again, characters fell flat. The execution of the plot was a little messy for me, which is sad because I really loved the previous book I'd read by her. So yeah, not my favorite thing. I gave it a 3. I may just be jaded or something. I don't know. But it almost felt too campy to me. So this one was not for me. Again, not a bad book, just not for me. And I gave it 3 stars. Now we have Morning Glory Milking Farm. And it is just as it seems. This is a place where they milk minotaurs for their semen. About a woman who gets a job at a milking farm and how she slowly builds a friendship and a relationship with one of the minotaurs. I adored this. I had a great time reading it because I was able to suspend my disbelief and, but I know some people have had problems with this one, but I had a good time with it. I mean, he does kind of look like a cow in his head, so if you don't have an issue with that, you should be fine. Then I did read The Summer Sisters by Sarah Richardson. This is a direct sequel to the one that she came out with at Christmas time. I can't remember the title of that right now, but we're following the same sisters after what happened in that book. And again, I really enjoyed getting back into their stories. It was an unexpected sequel. I didn't realize it was a direct sequel. I thought it was a companion book. So that was a little startling when I first got into it. But yeah, I did really enjoy it. Solid 4. I really enjoy Sarah Richardson's writing, so I'm sure that's part of it. We kind of did another different kind of romance, and that is No Fox to Give. This is the first book, I believe, in the Swan Lake series. But in this one, it is a fox shifter and a swan shifter. And about how he's kind of laying low, hiding out from bad guys there. And the relationship that he has with his neighbor, this beautiful, blonde, long-legged woman who is an artist. And it's really cute. I really enjoyed it. Solid 4 stars. Then I had The Queen Will Betray You by Sarah Henning. This is the sequel to The Princess Will Save You. I gave this one 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first, and I was feeling lukewarm after the first one. So I do not think I will continue the series, but I did, it's just not for me. I'm not the target demographic for that one. And I do think teenage me would have been all over this series. So just a personal thing. All right, so I have Out of Character by Annabeth Albert. This is a male centered around cosplay. And I thought this was really sweet. I really enjoyed it. Gave it like a 3.5, 4 star. There were some weird things in the pacing that I didn't really love. But outside of that, it was just really cute and I really liked it. Then I had The Unicorn's Mare. This is a romance with a unicorn and this curvy woman on the front. And this was really fun. Again, a solid 4 star. Basically, they have to journey. They mate. They don't mate. They are mates. And once he sees her, like, part of his magic gets transferred to her. And so they need to go back to where he lives to solidify things. But he can release her from it at that point as well. And so because she wants to continue to live her life in her realm, she goes with him, but falls in love with him along the way. It's cute. I had a fun time with it. Again, solid 4. Then I read The Dating Dare by J.C. Lee. And again, I gave this 3 stars. I think I just need to stick to J.C. Lee's categories because I feel like in her traditionally pubs, like, she tries to add unnecessary drama to them. And so there was a lot about The Dating Dare. I liked both of these characters in the previous book, A Sweet Mess, I think. But I felt like their characters completely changed once this book came along, so it was not my favorite. Then I did read How Sweet It Is by Dylan Newton. This one was a cute rom-com about an event planner and a horror author who's a scaredy cat. She's planning an event for his latest release. They have a really interesting meet cute, and I really enjoyed this one. Again, solid 4. I think it's a lot of fun. Yes, The Viscount Made Me Do It by Diana Quincy. This is the second book in the series. This is the sequel to Her Night with the Duke. That's what it was. Anyhow, the hero was just too much of a jerk. I couldn't get behind him, but I loved our heroine. She's a bone setter, and I really loved her. She was a firecracker, and I had a really, really great time reading about her, but he was a hard sell, so the romance was a hard sell for me on this one. So yeah, not my favorite, and I'm a little sad about it, but yeah, what can you do? So friends, that is everything. I now have a needy cat as well. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments down below what one of your favorite reads for the month of August has been so far. And if you're here just because you love me, leave your favorite flower emoji. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.